The Man with the Wooden Leg. I'm 24 now, but when all this happened, I was just 12. I live not far from Paris, but I've loved traveling since I was a kid. For 5 summers in a row, from 2009 to 2013, my mom signed me up for summer camps every July. Those camps were amazing. I traveled all over France, camping, hiking mountains, exploring caves, doing rope courses. So many fun activities. I was young, and I loved every minute of it. But then came 2013, the worst year of my life, and the last time I ever went to camp. That summer, the camp was on Ile d'Oléron, an island in western France, connected to the mainland by a huge bridge. The island is famous for its hot summers, amazing local food, beautiful beaches, and especially Fort Boyard, an old fortress in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that once served as a prison. The camp was set deep in nature. Picture a group of small buildings arranged in an L shape. On one side was the entrance, and on the other, thick bushes leading straight into the forest. The buildings included the kids' dorms, the laundry room, the dining hall, and the instructors' dorms. Back then, I was pretty rebellious and didn't like following rules. 2 of my friends, Malik and Enzo, came with me that year, so we were all set for a crazy summer, maybe even too crazy. Everything was fine for the first 6 days of camp. We were having so much fun, but on the 7th day, things started to go wrong, mostly because of us. That evening, we had a campfire game night. We played board games like Uno from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. After that, the instructors announced lights out, and everyone went to their rooms. Malik, Enzo, and I shared a room, so we brushed our teeth and went to bed. About 25 or 30 minutes later, the instructors turned off all the lights. Around midnight, I came up with a terrible idea: a night walk in the forest with my 2 friends. We were only 12 or 13 years old, but that didn't stop us. We opened our window, looked around to make sure no instructors were awake. They were all asleep, probably exhausted after the day's activities. We quietly crossed the camp courtyard, snuck past the buildings, and entered the bushes on the far side of the site. We walked about 10 to 15 minutes into the forest. While walking, I kept joking and trying to scare my friends with creepy stories. Suddenly, we reached the fence of an old abandoned house. The place looked completely run down and creepy, like something out of a witch's tale. Being young and dumb, we decided to at least check out the garden. To our surprise, the gate was open, so we stepped inside. The moment we started walking through the garden, we heard a huge, loud scream, a man's deep, terrifying voice. We were so scared that for a moment we couldn't even understand what he was shouting. Then the front door of the house creaked open under the porch, and we saw a man running toward us. We panicked. Nearly crying, we sprinted back to the gate and flung it open. We ran as fast as we could, crashing through the bushes toward the camp. We made it back, waking everyone up in the middle of the night, completely stressed and scared. I was crying a lot. The instructors, of course, scolded us for being reckless, but it was obvious from our faces that we weren't making it up. We told them everything that had happened, then finally went back to our rooms. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I kept replaying the scene over and over in my head. One detail stuck with me thanks to the moonlight. The man was limping, and he had a wooden leg. But despite that, he ran incredibly fast. I don't know why, but I had a really bad feeling about the whole thing. I wish that had been the end of the story. But no, on the 9th day, the last day of camp, we were outside doing activities when the instructor asked if we had our swimsuits ready because we were going to the pool. I said no. I needed to grab mine from my room. So I ran alone to the dormitory, which was only about 10 meters away. I opened my door and, for some reason, closed it behind me without turning on the light. The shutters were closed, so the room was almost completely dark. Only a few tiny holes let in some moonlight. That's when I saw it. About 5 meters away, I saw a tall, human-like figure standing perfectly still. I couldn't see his face, only his dark silhouette. I didn't understand what was happening. I was frozen. I couldn't move. After what felt like an eternity, probably 5 or 6 seconds, I snapped out of it, turned around, opened the door, and ran outside, screaming that someone was in my room. I ran, crying, toward the center of the camp where everyone was. An instructor immediately grabbed a few others and went to check my room, but it was empty. Then the instructors called everyone to come see my room because they found something terrifying. On the floor was a piece of paper with the words, "I will come back tonight." I literally froze. I cried even more than before. That night, the instructors stayed in pairs outside every door to make sure no one could enter. Thankfully, no one came back to my room. The next day, we left camp. Because of those incidents, I never went back to camp again after that summer. It took me a long time to feel comfortable traveling again, even with friends or family. It wasn't until I turned 19 that I finally dared to go on vacation again. When I told my mom everything, she said I was both incredibly stupid and incredibly brave for my age. She also told me I did the right thing because whoever was in my room that night clearly didn't mean well, especially with that note left behind. But honestly, sneaking into the forest that night, so freaking stupid, I still don't know what we were thinking. Even 12 years later, questions still haunt me. Who the hell was that person in my room? Was it the same man who chased us in the forest? What did he want? How did he find my room? These questions kept me awake for so many nights. I had endless nightmares. Like I said at the start, even if I mostly laugh about it now, sometimes I still get anxious over small things. So, to the man in the woods who chased us and later appeared in my room, let's never meet, ever.